pleasure to introduce to you the man of the hour, Tony.
Hey, welcome back to At the Gates. Sorry for the somber attitude here right away, but a couple hours ago saw on Twitter a tweet that I thought at first was an account getting hacked. It was straight from MLB Trade Rumors, stating that Jose Fernandez, star pitcher for the Miami Marlins, was killed in a boating accident. A few clicks led me to some other people confirming that, and within a few more minutes, more people jumped on board. Buster Olney was the first large source that confirmed it a few minutes later, and there you have it. At the age of 24, one of the best pitchers in the game is not only just not going to pitch, he is gone. It's extremely sad, not just for baseball, not just for the Marlins, but for a lot of fans, and even above all that, seeing that his girlfriend was pregnant and the joy that he shared only a few days ago by posting a picture stating family first. It's really a swift kick in the nuts, to tell you the truth. It's going to be tough for a lot of people to process. I can't imagine what it's like being a family member, a teammate, really anyone that was close to him. This is just my 2 cents in the whole story, more just reporting what's going on, but I know that I have a heightened emotional state usually, and for whatever reason, I never met the guy, never had interactions with him, but this is even stinging me. It's tough to see someone that young with not just that bright of a future, but the story that he had for his background, getting out of Cuba, trying multiple times to do so, getting jailed, finally coming over, and on the way over, saving his mother's life, who was drowning. It's terribly unfortunate, terribly tragic, and the insane irony that it was the water and a boat that took his life is tough. I think the last episode from only a couple days ago, you'll hear that I was really hoping that the Twins would get him. At that point, I knew that he was a great pitcher. Then hearing stories from other ball hawks and just people that interacted with him, it sounded like he loved the game. From all the highlights that I've seen, he definitely showed that. A lot of older veterans kind of got rubbed the wrong way a few times, but you know what? I don't think that there is any malice and anything other than just his exuberance when he hit that home run or when he struck guys out. He was playing a game. He was doing what he loved, and it's going to be weird. So, like I said, this is At the Gates. I am your host, Tony, and I am just waiting at Gate 34 for Paul Com to show up. Excuse me. I am still battling this cold, but I can already tell that I'm doing a better job than the last podcast. I have my wits about me for the most part. The sick head is gone. I have my normal brain back for the most part. And the skies have now cleared, and it's looking like it's going to be a decent day for a game. It's the Twins' last regular season game here at Target Field, and I've made a tradition of going to the final game of the year as well as the first game of the year since 2010, since Target Field opened. And I've also gone to the last game of the year back in 2009. I did that 3 times, really, because originally we all thought it was going to be game 162. Got a ticket for that. They pushed to game 163. Got a ticket for that. And then when they won that, got a ticket for the playoffs, which they proceeded to lose, but got the last game there as well. So it's a good tradition. It hasn't been anything positive for quite some time. I think the closest was last year, but we already knew about a day or two before that we weren't going to make the playoffs. It was still nice to be involved in that playoff hunt until the last weekend, but even then last year it was throw in all the younger guys and see what they can do and give them a game to shine in front of the home crowd and get them a few at-bats before going into what would become the 2016 season. The 2016 season in general has been, well, pretty terrible. We're at 99 losses right now, and unless we win the next 7 games now, because we won yesterday, unless we win the next 7 games in a row, we will hit 100 losses, which hasn't happened in Twins franchise history. It'd be nice to avoid that here at home at least, but we are playing the Mariners, who are in a playoff push. They're trying to get that last wild card, and I think they're about 2.5 games back, so they are kind of in desperation mode right now, so they really have to win this in order to hopefully keep their chances alive. They had a shot to tighten the gap yesterday, but they just couldn't do it. And as I speak, my co-host is walking up right now, so I will let Paul introduce himself while I adjust some stuff right here. Who do we have at the gates?
We have Tony and Paul.
All right. So I already covered the rather crappy story
Of this morning.
So I'm going to dig in my bag right here, so if you want to take a minute and just say any thoughts that you have about that, I'll let you.
I think any time that there's tragic breaking news like that, it really makes a big impact. I know a lot of people around the MLB are really saddened this morning. I know a lot of fans are saddened. It's just, really sad news in general, and especially since he's so young. I heard that he was possibly expecting a child with his girlfriend. That's just all around a very, very awful situation. Back to you, Tony.
Thank you, Paul. So, yeah, that's pretty much my sentiments, too. And I said that I'm more of the emotional type anyways, so this was just kind of one of those where it's shocking, and you don't know the full circumstances. It'd be pure speculation at any point to try to tell what exactly happened. But no matter what, just hearing the positive stories that have come out between his home life, his personal life, his journey over to the U.S., his love for the game. It seems like overall he was a positive person. I mean, no one's going to be perfect. Everyone has their flaws. But for the most part, I mean, like Paul said, everyone around the MLB is kind of just in the same state as the fans, where it's a shock. And I guarantee that a lot of people were doing the same thing that I did and trying to look for more sources, because when you read that first headline, it's like, okay, someone hacked something or something's going wrong here. This doesn't seem like it's real, but unfortunately the reality is setting in, and the Marlins did cancel their game against the Braves. So going back up to speed and moving on from the tragic and terrible news into almost more of a laughingstock news, I was just talking about the 2016 Twins. Any thoughts about them?
I like your intro there, laughingstock news.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums up the season. We avoided our 100th loss last evening with a win, finally. But it's going to be a long week. I mean, we have one more game today against the Mariners. I'm kind of hoping, that sounds bad, but I'm hoping to see our 100th loss tonight, just so I can say, hey, I saw our 100th loss.
Yeah, there's something about seeing history, even if you're on the wrong side of it. Whenever I go to a game, if the opposing pitcher that's facing the Twins, if he has a no-hitter going, I am secretly, I'm like, I want to see this, because you don't always get to see history.
Yeah, I love the Twins. I'll stand by them, but when there's history, I'm going to sideline them for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's how we kind of know that we're more baseball fans. Right, because
we can appreciate those things.
Yep. And I think that really deep down, a lot of the baseball players, they don't want to be on the losing team or on that terrible historic thing, but if they take a step back and realize that there are some fans in attendance that can appreciate what happened against them and still root for them, I think that's... I would hope that that's pretty common and a well-known attribute to have as a baseball player, because you're going to get the crap beat out of you some games, and you're going to do the crap kicking in the other games. So your fans are going to be loyal, but they're also going to be human. And if there's something cool that they can witness, let them relish in that moment.
And it's going to be a long week. They got 6 more games, is that right? 6?
6 after today.
Okay, yeah. So we got 3 against the Royals, and then into Chicago we got 3 more.
Chicago, how did you know that they're ending there?
I just looked at the schedule.
Yeah, no plans or anything?
Not yet. We'll see what happens.
Huh. I think I might have a plan or two. So
I would love to hear about them sometime.
Yeah, I think that maybe I'll try to tell you next Sunday if you're around.
You know,
you might be busy.
I might be busy. I think I have something planned.
Okay. Well, then we'll see. Maybe we can Skype or something. But yeah, that's pretty much the 2016 Twins. Is we get distracted and don't really finish our thoughts, because I think that they kind of got distracted and never really finished their season, quite honestly. I'm thinking it's still kind of lofty, but I'm thinking 104 losses is what we're going to end up with.
That's a pretty good prediction, I think. I could see them pulling out maybe
That's
2 wins.
Yeah, and I think both of those wins, if we end up winning more, it's going to be because the White Sox just gave up, quite honestly. But I can also see the Twins doing what they did last year in the last game of the season for basically the remainder of this season. Just start all your young guys, do enough to get them some...
The last 2 days, it's just been the young guys playing.
Yep. Get them some experience and trial by fire, and you know what? If they can rattle off a few wins, it's only going to help them. If they can't...
At this point of the season, it's only for their benefit.
Yep. Which kind of leads into the 2017 season, things to look forward to. I think the biggest thing that you might even agree, Paul, the thing that I'm looking forward to is who did they hire to really lead the ship?
I'm not familiar with this.
For GM and president of baseball operations?
I have not heard this.
Oh, so... You knew that Terry Ryan is gone?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just looking forward to seeing who they sign, really, because...
Oh, I thought there was news already.
No. Come on. Everyone's turning them down.
I've never heard of that happening so quickly. That's why I was taken by such surprise there.
And what are your bets? Do you think that they stay kind of internally, or at least have someone that has Twins experience in their background, or do you think that they actually start fresh?
You know, I could see it going either way, because they have that history. They have a huge history of going from inside first and bringing that internal aspect back. So if it does go internally, a candidate that just came to mind, I don't know how well he actually fits, but I know they brought Ron Gardenhire back. He's the assistant to the GM.
Yep.
Now that the GM is gone, he has a lot of experience and history with the team. He knows the players well. He's still working with the players. I could see him being in the race for candidacy.
I thought you were going to be really impressive and talk about a guy that I don't even know if you would have ever seen him play. Randy Bush, does he ring a bell?
I know who Randy Bush is. I'm familiar with him.
So he's with the Cubs organization right now. And there's been some rumors in the past that the Twins would like to get him back, but I haven't seen any of those rumors pop up in the last month or so.
I think I would prefer for them to go externally this time, because, you know, as of late, the last 5 years late, it internally hasn't worked out for them.
Right, and I think that they have enough within their organization right now in coaching staff that they can kind of say that they have the internal structure and that they have stayed the Twins way, but maybe having just an overall new leader that's from the outside could end up really helping them. So I think that that's the biggest thing that we're looking forward to. But anything else, any players that you're looking forward to in 2017?
All of the players I've been really excited about in the Twins organization have surfaced, and I've seen them play. So now it's just, them getting more experience. We've had players stick. Buxton has been on a surge as of late. Kepler's had a surge. I think I'm just more excited, not for the individual players, but for them to start clicking as a team. Because we have the individual talent. We see it game by game. There's always one player that has a good game. But it's just, unfortunately, never all at the same time.
Yep. How many of those guys do you think will end up being legit next year? Do you think it's half of them? And are there certain ones that you think are kind of a lock to finally get it? Likewise, is there a guy that you think that might be kind of flamed out almost?
I don't know about flamed out so far, but I think somebody who will finally stick next year is Buxton. I could see it happening.
Yep.
He struggled last year. He struggled in parts of the year before when he came up for a little bit. This year he's kind of catching on, but it seems if you compare him from this year to last year, or this year to 2 years ago, well, that one by far, you can see the improvement. He's getting comfortable. He's getting experience. I think people have compared him to Torrey Hunter, his slow start. But if you look at Torrey Hunter's stats and Buxton's stats in their early years, I think he's going to take off really soon.
I'd say that that's a fair assessment. The one guy that's I'm not giving up on him right now, but I don't know in the next year that he's going to figure it out. Not Vargas, Barrios. I don't know what it is. He can excel at every minor league level that he's pitched in, but I'm hoping that he gets that major league experience. But it might almost be better at this point to don't make him a long-term reliever, but don't give up on the idea that maybe send him down there for a couple months or at least 1 year to just get some experience pitching out of the pen, pitching a few solid innings, knowing how to pitch, because they did that with some of their big names before. They did that with Johan Santana. They have a history of being able to do that, but I just he's the one that I'm really, really concerned about.
When you do that, a lot of times teams don't approach it the right way, and then the player's basically done for his career.
Yep.
The Twins, like you said, have done it in the past. If they do that, they know that they're going to have to be extremely cautious, but it's always a risky deal when you take on that sort of task.
Agreed. So, that is pretty much done. I have a quick playoff picture here, and it kind of tells who's really locked into what right now. Right now, Texas is going to face the wild card play-in game. Toronto looks to have that locked down. Orioles are half game up on Detroit. And then in the other ALDS, it would be Cleveland versus Boston, with Boston having the home field advantage. Honestly, I can't tell you who's going to sneak out that last final wild card. I would guess the Orioles, but I don't think it's really going to matter because it's going to be Texas versus Boston for the ALCS. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would have to agree on that one.
I think this is the year where finally the wild card is going to be going home right away.
Yeah, there's solid teams, but you have to look at the substantial amount of wins that Texas and Boston. They're just
and
really
Texas has good
right
pitching
now.
Too right now. So
they're very dominant teams, and the others are just kind of riding their way in.
Yep. And then on the NL side, Cubs obviously are number one right now. There you go, Larry. Be happy.
Shout out.
Then they would play the wild card play-in game. Right now the Mets have a half-game lead, but that really doesn't mean much because they are losing guys basically one every other day, it seems like, at this point. Then the Giants and Cardinals are locked in for that second wild card spot. Again, I don't know who's going to take it. I would guess the edge has to go to the Cardinals at this point because the Giants have had a pretty bad skid. They might be ending it now, but who knows. But just like the AL side, I really don't think it's going to matter because the Cubs are going to be in the NLCS, and then they would have to play the winner of the Washington Dodgers series. And I think it's going to be Washington just because they have home field advantage. And the Dodgers have the ability to have decent pitching, but they also have the ability to go very cold. So I think it's going to be Cubs versus Nationals for the NLCS. How about you?
I'd have to say Cubs for sure. I'm really not sure with their opponent. I'm not as familiar with the NL teams right now. I haven't been checking in as much. I would like, between the Giants and Cardinals, I would like to see the Giants. But then I don't want to see them get very far. I like the Dodgers. I like the Cubs. I like what the Cubs are doing. I don't like the Cubs.
Who do you think that is going to come out and be in the World Series? Because right now I have it Texas versus Cubs.
I think that's a really strong possibility. I think more likely, in my opinion, Boston Cubs.
Yeah, that experience is going to help them?
Yeah.
Plus they have Big Papi. I mean, that would be a very nice way to send him off, going to one final World Series. And I'm not going to make a prediction for the World Series because I don't want to jinx either team. But if it is like what I was saying in Texas versus Cubs, someone's going to win a World Series, one for the first time and the other the first time in well over 100 years. So with that, there's only a couple minutes left at the gates. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to have to say that this might be the final time that I get to see Trevor Plouffe at Target Field in a Twins uniform. He won't be playing today, but it might be real. I doubt that you're listening to this right now, but I do want to go on record and thank you for all of your time that you've given us Twins fans and all of the positive memories. You helped us avoid 100 losses back in 2011. We do appreciate that. As well as you've been super kind to the fans, all the autographs, all the cool things that you've done. You've done a lot for both the military program here as well as Strike Out Cancer. So I hope that you come back, but at the same time, if you don't, I will be a fan, and no matter what, I will watch you one game per year at your home field because I want to do that. And I think that you're going to have a nice long career, and I wish you the best. Just try to come back next year. It would be pretty awesome. I'd love to see you retire as a Twin. And with that, we have no real sponsor today, but I wanted to give Angel Arroyo another shout-out. He sponsored the show last time, and since I was feeling sick, I did get his shout-out correctly, but the episode was just a train wreck. So, Angel, again, thank you for being a fan of the show. And also, congratulations on joining the 600 Club within 24 hours of me doing so. It was pretty sweet. So, we will hopefully see you. Maybe even Paul can join us. And maybe you can either ball hawk up here or we can meet you in another stadium. But I know that there's a lot of people around here that want to meet you, Angel. So, with that said, I think that is going to be the end of the show. And today's unofficial sponsor, I'd have to say right now, is Netflix, because I've been addicted again. And just watched the show Easy. That was pretty fantastic. Finished New Girl, the season 5, within 2 or 3 days. So I've been Netflixing and trying to stay awake while I basically die on my couch from this sickness. So with that, thank you for joining us at the gates. This is the last time from Target Field for 2016. Paul, say bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy off season.
Yeah, I'll probably see you in January. Good night.
Bye.